our problem areas and the areas that we need to really address. We'll be able to log all the calls and see, 5 people have this issue with their computer, or 5 people have this issue with their networking to their printer. And by getting all of those calls, we will also be able to build a knowledge base of how we fix those issues and, what was our workaround for them. We also need to implement Microsoft Exchange email. So that includes, purchasing a new server and licenses, because currently we have hosted email. So there's many advantages to going with Exchange email. A simple one would be to have shared calendars. We'd be able to check a calendar instead of coming down here to write in a book, to see if a room was available. Another, we would be in compliance with email retention. Most importantly, backup and disaster recovery. We need to develop a plan and come up with an efficient method of backup. And not just for town hall, but also for police, fire, library, and elder services. So we're all, backing up correctly. And lastly would be to complete the rollout of the phone system. We are almost done with this process, and it really just needs to be the library and elder services. So, that's an easy goal to achieve. Some highlights of the additional Munis modules that we still need to roll out and in order of priority. So some of this is probably foreign, and I'll explain each one as we go. Number one priority would be Dashboard. And Dashboard is a web-based interface of Munis. Currently we have Munis Client, which just sits on everyone's PCs. Dashboard would be internet-based. You can just log in that way. But the most important feature of Dashboard is that it is ease of navigation. The end user is not going to be saying, this system is horrible, I don't know where to find anything. The view of it is completely different, and you can make favorites, and you can group things together, and that will be the most easiest module to implement for us. So that's why we made that priority 1, because regardless of the other ones, that should be our first initiative. Second would be tax and utility billing. So this would be real estate, personal property, motor vehicle, tax title, water, and trash. So water and trash come under the utility billing module. Those are 2 separate modules, and then tax would encompass all the real estate modules. And by doing this, we would bring everything into one, and we'd have a fully integrated financial management system. We would be able to pull up a property record card. We'd be able to see everything associated with it, but also for our collector's office, they could pull that up, and when someone comes in and makes a payment, it automatically posts to the general ledger. So currently right now we do manual journal entries to post all of the payments to the general ledger. So all those payments will hit the resident's property record, and then it will also hit the general ledger account. So we won't be doing, duplicate entries. Tyler Content Manager, known as TCM, is it's a storage system, but it's a storage system within Munis, and it is a great way to store audit records, different reports that you can attach to things. You could attach a contract to a purchase requisition. It will also cut down on the use of paper. Currently, departments bring over their invoices to be paid to a vendor. They keep a copy of the invoice for themselves. They bring the original to us. This will allow the department to scan the invoice in. They're not making a photocopy, but it's not adding additional work to them. It's saving paper. It's just, instead of copying it, they're scanning it, and they attach it. We'll be able to pull that up and attach it to the bill record. And so if we ever had to do a search, instead of going to our paper filing cabinet, we can search within Munis and pull up the invoice. We can pull up a check copy, which will come in handy for grant reimbursements. there's a whole slew of things that you can do with it, and I have more backup information that I can get to you guys if you want to see that. And Tyler cashiering goes hand in hand with the tax and utility billing. Instead of having a cash register that's not linked to anything, that there's no, it's just not a good audit internal control procedure, Tyler cashiering would be installed, and we take a payment for a real estate account, and what it does is it actually will print out on the receipt, if the person's paying by check, a copy of the check on the back of the receipt. It's really a great auditing system, and everyone seems to love it in other communities that use it. You can use it for the other modules too. You can use it for permits and business licenses. Town clerk can use it for their stuff. So it really brings back control, rather than just having a manual cash register that's not linked to anything. Priority 2 is treasury management. Treasury management is an integrated cash reconciliation between the bank accounts and the general ledger. This is very important for many communities that can't get cash reconciled. There's always an issue between accounting and the treasurer's office. So this would put our bank accounts onto Munis, and we would be able to automatically, when a payment comes in or a receipt is deposited, it automatically uploads, and there's no reason that cash should not match. Lastly, priority 3 is permits and business licenses, and like I said, with the Tyler cashiering, this could encompass the permits from town clerk. It could building permits. It could be anything that we want it to be. So it depends on how in depth we want to get. Just on a note, but we're going to talk about it on another slide. The tax and utility billing, currently we use point software, so we pay annual maintenance of $24,000. So that would go away when we convert to the Munis tax and utility billing. So this is a little small to see, but it's a breakdown of the new Munis module applications on the left-hand side, from dashboard to treasury management. There's smaller ones in there, Tyler reporting services, employee self-service, and citizen self-service. Those are optional if we choose to go with them. And I'll explain a little bit about them. Tyler reporting services, currently we have crystal reporting, which is very difficult for an end user to write a crystal report. You really need to be a programmer to get a good report from it. The information you put into it sometimes doesn't come out to be the information that you want to see. So the Tyler reporting, they've made many more canned reports that, at the click of the button, you can run them. Employee self-service. So this would enable employees to pull up their direct deposit advice for paychecks. They could pull up, how much they've made year to date. They can pull up anything on themselves, by logging into any terminal. They don't need to be, it could be a DPW worker down at the garage. They could log into the terminal and they could pull up their year-to-date earned. Citizen self-service. There's two pieces to this. We can have a kiosk here at Town Hall. So currently, which we do for people to make payments by credit card at the collector's office, as well as the building department and town clerk. So it would be one module for all of those. They can log on, pull up their property record, do whatever they're purchasing, and they can purchase it at that terminal. And it also integrates with the website. The citizen self-service would be on our website, and they could do the same thing at home. So that's pretty much what we still need to complete. You can see the software prices for each one of them. The minimal installation would be if they needed to come on to our server and do some installing of the software. Munis forms. You only see that for real estate, personal property, business licenses, and permits, and that is just basically we're tailoring a form to match our real estate bills that we send out to the residents, or what our building permit looks like. So that's the cost of them designing our form. The data conversion is taking all of the data that we currently have in our real estate system, as well as in the state's assessing database, the CAMA database, which this probably is the most important part, the most difficult part. You go through about 8 to 10 passes of data. There's always something that drops off. There's always something that gets missed. So it's a lengthy process. The consulting and training, they go hand in hand. That's for the Munis implementers to be on site and your project managers to be here and guide you through the whole process. And so you come down to the total of $257,290. But then we're not done because we need some additional hardware and such. So in order to go with these new modules, it's mandatory that we get a new Munis server. It needs to be a 64-bit server. We also need a standalone SQL license for that server. They only allow you to use the SQL license that you purchase on one server. You can't share it among servers. And in order to have the citizen self-service and the employee self-service, you need to have a separate Munis web server. And the reason why the price difference between the Munis server and the web server is the web server can be much smaller in capacity. And the one that I left off to talk about last was the Tyler cashiering units. This is four units, and they are actually point of sale terminals. They are a small form factor computer with a flat screen, a cash drawer that automatically pops open, and a handheld scanner to scan all the bills. So they require that you buy them from them, but that may change. But that is currently what the price is that they've given us.
I'll take that, Liz.
Yep.
Can we have some questions on?
Mm-hmm.
And the last time we spoke about, you said 4. And where would be the placement of 4? Why would we need 4?
2 at the collector's office, 1 at town clerk, and 1 at building. So if we didn't choose to go with the permits and the business licenses, then we wouldn't need to have 1. I mean, we could still have 1 even if we didn't, because currently they have just, town clerk has a cash register that's not linked to anything. So, if we don't go with those, then you don't need it, but we need at least 2 at collections.
Mike?
Some of the modules,
Mm-hmm.
will they affect the way we do time card control now?
They can. With the employee self-service, we could initiate. We currently have that module.
Yeah.
It's just not utilized, so we could use it, and then the employee could log in and enter time of arrival, or they could see their accrued vacation and such. So there's a lot that we can do with it.
So could we be uniform across all departments, even remote departments, everybody using the same formats?
Yes.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last question, any of these investments allow us to change the way we handle the warrants?
Yes. You'd be able to log in through employee self-service and see the warrant there, and we may have to buy an additional application for you guys to sign them electronically, but that is a possibility to sign them electronically. It's just if this completes it or if we need that additional application, but that's minimal, the application to have an electronic signature.
I'd love to see that.
Into this cost, is there cost factor for training for all our employees? And if so, what is it?
So there was some training and consulting on there. That is Munis-based training solely. We currently have $15,000 set aside for accounting consulting services, which would provide some hands-on training. So we may need to have a discussion further if how much previous training we need to do, where the end user feels comfortable. I know some people have said that the current users need refreshers. So whether I do that myself or I have a consultant do it,